بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خير, brothers who stayed behind. Inshallah, I'll keep this very short. Just by show of hands, how many of you guys have attended my Friday khutbah this past Friday? 1, 2. Okay, so the majority of you guys were not here. So I gave the khutbah on this past Friday, and I mentioned a little bit about the circumstances that Surah Yusuf was revealed in. Surah Yusuf is a very unique surah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to the Prophet ﷺ in a very unique time. The Prophet ﷺ was going through a rough time. So right before Surah Yusuf was revealed, 3 big things happened to the Prophet ﷺ. Number 1, he lost his wife Khadija radiallahu anha. Now his wife, they're married for 25 years. She was the love of his life. Not only that, she supported him very much. From the moment he received the revelation till the moment that she died, she was by his side all the time. She never let him go. She supported him emotionally. She supported him with her money. She supported him because he didn't really have a lot of family. So she was everything to him. And shortly after that, he loses his uncle as well. His uncle Abu Talib. Now his uncle was, you can say, the father figure of the Prophet ﷺ. So someone who he trusted so much. And not only did the Prophet ﷺ love Abu Talib, he relied on him a lot. He almost was his protector. That Abu Talib stood against the people of Quraysh and says, if anybody touches my nephew, you will have to go through me. Now these 2 individuals did go. Literally within a few months in between them. They both were gone. So now the Prophet ﷺ is threatened, if you will. What is he going to do with his mission? What is he going to do with spreading Islam? Mecca is not a good place for him because his companions are being tortured. Some of them are being persecuted. Where is he going to go? So he went to a city named Al-Ta'if to try to figure out a place for the Muslims. And again, he was humiliated. He was dealt with in a very bad way. Now I want you to think about all of these things happening to the Prophet ﷺ literally within few months. Now how does he feel? Again, as we mentioned during the khutbah, he's sad, he feels alone, he's confused, he's worried, he doesn't know what he's going to do with his mission. Now something we have to keep in mind is this could happen to any of us. We could lose a loved one. We can lose our job and don't know what to do. We might start a business and it's going very well for a little bit and then we don't know what happens. It changes. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals the entire Surah Yusuf to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And insha'Allah, what we're going to do is every first Monday of the month, we'll take just a couple of verses. We'll spend maybe 15 minutes together and then we'll go through the surah. I like to call this surah the surah of life. Because Yusuf alayhi salam, Allah gives us his story from the time that he was a little kid all the way to the time that he becomes the finance minister, you can see the king of Egypt. That he had nothing when he was so little, and then he reaches something. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us this story in such a beautiful order, and it was given to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala start the verse? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts the verse by saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام را تلك آيات الكتاب المبين. Question for you guys. What does Alif Lam Ra mean? I usually have chocolate with me, by the way. I just didn't bring them today. But inshallah next month I'll have some chocolate with me. I'll throw chocolates as you guys ask. What does Alif Lam Ra mean?
Allahu A'lam.
Allahu A'lam. Allah knows. Only Allah knows. We don't know. Even our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't explain it to us. Now another question. If we don't know what it means, does that mean it doesn't have a purpose? Is there a purpose that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts some surahs with Alif Lam Ra? I mean, why would Allah start with something that we don't know what it means? What's the purpose of Alif Lam Ra? What do you guys think? What is the purpose? We know the meaning, we don't know the meaning. As the brother said, we don't know. Allah knows the meaning. But nothing in the Quran is mentioned without a purpose. Allah is not going to just, quote unquote, waste real estate in the book that something doesn't have a purpose. What is the purpose of Alif Lam Ra? Or Alif Lam Mim or Ta Sin or all these other, what we call Al-Huruf Al-Muqatta'at, that are mentioned in so many places in the Quran. What do you guys think? Yes?
Challenging other people who are the language of Arabic, that if you denying me, what is the meaning of this?
Very good, very good. So one of the purposes of Alif Lam Ra, and again the other Huruf Muqatta'at, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenging the Arabs. Because the Arabs thought the Prophet, their number one thing was Arabic. They actually didn't have much else. They weren't like the Romans or the Persians. They had warfare and other technologies. The Arabs only had the language. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is challenging them. Okay, what about us? What is the purpose for us? What do you guys think? Something to ponder upon. Okay, very good. Anyone else? By the way, every Monday is going to be like that. I talk very little, and you guys help me talk. I'm very boring, and you don't want to listen to me for 15 minutes. So what is the purpose of Alif Lam Ra for us? Muslims today in 2019 in New Jersey. A lot of us are not Arabs. A lot of us don't know Arabic. What's the purpose?
Learn Arabic.
Learn Arabic. Very good. Okay, I like that. Anyone else? One of the purposes, as the scholars mentioned, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us the attitude of learning the Quran. What do I mean by that? You see, a lot of us learn the Quran with certain beliefs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, if you do not understand the 3 letters that I put in the beginning of the surah, you need to enter the Quran with an attitude of a student. That, oh Allah, I am ready for you to teach me. Even though I might have certain things. Like we've been Muslims for so long, aren't we? A lot of us have been Muslims for almost our entire life. We know a lot about Islam. We know a lot about life. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us here is that when you're about to embark on a journey to learn the Quran, enter it with an attitude of a student. Ya Allah, I am willing for you to teach me anything and everything. Even though I might learn something that I didn't believe my entire life. But that's okay. Because Allah is about to teach me. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues. So the purpose of Alif Lam Ra is simply to humble us. To make us sure that no matter how much we know, we will never know everything about the Quran. But we enter it as students. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينِ. Tilka is usually a description of something that is very far away. So in Arabic we have هذا or هذه and tilka or ذلك, which tilka or ذلك is something that is far. هذا or هذه is for something that is near. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينِ. These are the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that are very clear in His book, but they're kind of far. They're kind of high. Why would Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say that? Some of the scholars mentioned is that because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is explaining to us that we're going to work very, very hard to understand the Quran. It might not be easy. The Quran by itself is easy. It's easy to understand. It's easy to implement. But to get there, we're going to have to put an effort. Yani for example, talk to somebody who memorized the Quran and ask them, hey, was it easy? I will not know a single hafiz who said, yeah, it was a piece of cake, man, no problem. No, it wasn't. It required a lot of work. Talk to an imam, talk to a shaykh who studied the Quran his entire life. And they will tell you, they would read 1 page of the Quran for weeks just to learn what it means. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He's describing the verses, He's saying, tilka, as we have to work very hard to get there. Because when we work hard, we spend the time, we put an effort to learn the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we value it more. You know, easy come, easy goes, as they say. If the Quran comes easy to us, that's why I say this, subhanAllah, even though I'm an Arab, I think that non-Arabs who learn the Quran value it more than Arabs who learn the Quran. Because for the Arabs, it's easier. But for non-Arabs who spend the time, they put the effort, they have to learn Arabic, and they have to put so much work to understand the Quran, they value it more. And I say even this non-Muslim or new Muslims who learn the Quran, they value it more than Muslims who've been there all along. When we work so hard for something, we value it more. And that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to teach us in just these few little verses. And then Allah says, تِلْكَ آيَاتُ الْكِتَابِ الْمُبِينِ. Ayat means verses. Right? Ayat means verses. Shaykh Yasir Qadi, when he's explaining this surah, he said something very profound, very interesting. He says this is a proof that the breakouts of the Quran are divine from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, the Bible has a lot of verses, but they're broken down by man. For us, the Quran that starts with Surah Al-Fatiha, and then Surah Al-Baqarah, and then Al Imran, and then we end with Surah Al-Nas, this is all divine. This is not random. Because some people might think that this breakout of these verses, that this surah has this number of verses and this surah has this number of verses, this is all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is all divine. It's not random. It's not the companions who made it up as they went. So when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when He uses the word ayat, that means the breakouts of the Quran are from who? Are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they're not random. And then He says, Kitabun Mubin, that this book is clear. Now the word Mubin has three different meanings. Three different meanings. Number one, the source of the Quran is very clear. Nobody ever claimed throughout history that they made up the Quran. Nobody ever made that claim. Which is fascinating because we know it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. SubhanAllah, even non-Muslims, you ask them, they'll tell you it's divine the moment you spend some time with it. This book cannot be from anyone else. So the word Mubin, when Allah describes the Quran, the book, as something that is clear, the source of it is very clear. That's the first meaning. The second meaning is that the verses of the Quran, the meanings of the Quran are very clear. That as we read the Quran, we would know what it means. Today, people read the translation and they know exactly what Allah wants out of them. Question then. If Allah is saying the Quran is clear, then why do we need scholars? Khalas, man, I can take care of it myself. Allah says the Quran is clear. I can just go read it by myself. I don't need scholars. Right? I don't need somebody to teach me the Quran. Why do we need scholars then? If Allah Himself is saying the book is clear, why do we need scholars? What do you guys think? Very good. So scholars will teach us what are the purposes or the reasons of revelation, which is a layer of the meanings and understanding the Quran. Very good. What else? What else? Why do we need scholars? Allah is saying book is clear. What's the purpose of scholars?
Explanations of the verses.
Explain it. But Allah is saying it's clear. So if I read it on my own, I don't understand.
Yeah, but we don't know how many rakats is Salat al-Zuhr.
Okay.
And we need explanation on this.
Very good. You're right there. Did you have something else?
Ruku, sujud, how they do this.
Yes.
We need alims to pass it on to us.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. Actually, what scholars, they explain this is that the basic understanding of the Quran, anybody can understand. So if somebody picks up a translation, have you guys heard of a non-Muslim who picked up a translation, he read the Quran, and then the next day became Muslim? Yeah. We all know at least maybe 1 or 2 people, we've seen them on YouTube or whatever. Everybody does that. So scholars, they said that the base meaning of the Quran, everybody can get access to. The depth of the Quran, the other details of the Quran, like the brother mentioned, Asbab al-Nuzul, the reasons of revelation. We need scholars for that. We need scholars who bring to us the different meanings and the different explanations and what this means and what that means and the different elements of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we need them. Other than that, we will not be able to learn on our own. We will have a basic understanding, but no depth of the Quran. And the last thing when it comes to the meaning of the word mubin, which is very fascinating, is that it is something that is clarifying. So it's not only clear on its own, but it clarifies other things. And subhanAllah, this is such a beautiful way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala starts, because what is the Prophet ﷺ looking for? When his wife died, his uncle died, he's trying to find a place for his ummah to go to. What is he looking for, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? He's looking for answers. He's looking for clarity. He's looking for someone to tell him which direction should I go. And subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, we all have the same exact question every single day in our life. I don't know, man, should I take this job or not? Should I marry this person or not? Should I send my kids to Islamic school or not? Should I move to this town or not? Should I do this or not? Every single one of us have decisions that we wish Allah can answer for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying this book can clarify things for us. It will give us a clear mind to be able to make a decision. To be able to say, you know what? This is the right decision. Bismillah, and you go take it. That the Quran will give us the instructions, will give us the manners, the morals, the etiquette of just dealing with life in general. That's exactly what the Prophet is looking for. And that is the purpose of us going into the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I promised, I'll keep it 15 to 20 minutes. I only went through one verse, which is absolutely fine. We'll probably spend a little bit more time with each of the verses, but really the point that I want everybody to get out of the surah is, number one, I guess, a greater appreciation of the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and also what kind of lessons we can get out of it, inshallah. So I'll end here, inshallah ta'ala, and first Monday of every month, inshallah, we'll spend about 15 to 20 minutes. We'll go through every verse on their own. Please, I'll make sure I have chocolate next time. What I'm going to ask everybody to do is bring your family, bring your kids, because inshallah I'll get a lot more interactive. Jazakumullah khair, subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.